Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast. Time to hashtag everything. We talk about all the fun, crazy stories on social media. From Instagram to Facebook, Twitter to Tumblr, or probably even Friendster. Join us each week as we explore the quirky side of social media. It's the Golden State Media Concepts social media podcast.
It's simple, such a sad song. The one that we rely on to get us.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Shamaria Jackson. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about J-Lo being sued for $150,000. I'm going to give you guys the breakdown between Teddy Riley versus Babyface on Instagram Live. We're going to be talking about the discussion, or in this case, the debate between Bow Wow versus Romeo, and many more on today's podcast. All right, guys. So, as of every other podcast, the one thing that has been stemming social media is obviously the COVID-19, and we're going to be taking a kind of different approach in today's podcast. All right, so for our very first segment, this is going to be a little morbid, okay? So I thought I would just go on and warn you before we officially get into it. So, studies have suggested that testicles make men more vulnerable to the coronavirus. No, you did not hear me wrong. So, hear me out. The study conducted by researchers in Mumbai, India, has found that the coronavirus could linger in a man's testicles, making men more prone to longer and more severe cases of the illness. Since testicles are walled off from the immune system, the virus could harbor there for longer periods than the rest of the body. Dr. Aditi Shrestri, she's an oncologist at the Montefiore Medical Center in the Bronx, and her mother, a microbiologist, said the virus attaches itself to a protein that mostly occurs in the testicles. Okay, so that was one story, and I believe that one was from the New York Times. There was another study from the Los Angeles Times, okay, so from the LA Times, and they said those cells that are in the testicles serve as the front door for the coronavirus because they express a protein called angiotensin converting enzyme number 2, which the virus just so happens to bind with, okay? So this happens in both men and women. These ACE2 proteins or receptors are plentiful in the lungs, the gastrointestinal tract, and the heart. Not surprisingly, all of those tissues are vulnerable to attack from the virus that causes COVID-19. But men's testicular tissue also pumps out ACE2 receptors at a high rate. Ovarian tissue does not. Okay? So while women offer the coronavirus plenty of opportunities to enter their cells, men's testicles may give the virus an extra point of entry. And since the testicles are walled off, again, from the immune system, they may be among the last hiding places from which the virus is driven out. But this is still an hypothesis. There's also 3 important things to go from this hypothesis. So first, there are so many precedence for a pathogen taking up residence in a quiet corner to elude the body's immune defenses, okay? Second, it's a biological plausible explanation for an observed gender disparity in COVID-19 infections. And third, it may help explain a clear pattern emerging from the COVID-19 epidemic, which rates of confirmed cases are running close to even by gender. Men have died of the COVID-19 at a notably higher rate than women in China, South Korea, Italy, and the United States. Right now in New York City, 68% of deaths are attributed to the COVID-19 have been in men, and I believe 32% have been in women. So what is my opinion about this case? It's so hard for me to pinpoint this. And think that it's not a man thing. I think this is, again, just making people more aware of what's going on around them and understanding that this COVID-19 is a very serious case. I think people understand it, but I don't think people care, if that makes any sense. So the only reason I'm saying that, especially now, is with people protesting to open up businesses. Now, that is something that I do understand that has to happen soon because people's lives are at risk. But at the same time, people's lives are at risk now because of this COVID-19. Now, with this hypothesis, I do believe a lot of what they are saying, especially because they are doctors. Plus, there has been several studies that have found that female doctors are more likely to adhere to clinical guidelines and provide more frequent preventative care than their male counterparts, which just goes to show you that, they dig a little bit deeper. They really research everything to figure out what exactly is going on and why males are being more prone to this COVID-19 than female. Now, are they saying that females are not dying? No, females are dying. Children are dying, but males have been more prone to passing away from this virus. And obviously the studies show, because I just told you guys. And I feel also that they're providing more of a preventative care, but it's all up to men. And also going off of that, there's been a lot of studies that show women were 33% more likely than men to visit a doctor. And that study actually decreased with age, but still, women are more likely to go to the doctor and try to ask if everything's okay, whereas men don't. Now, I'm not trying to bring up the difference in sexes and genders. I'm definitely not doing that. But I'm wondering if that is the reason as to why so many men have passed away from this COVID-19. One, they don't want to go to the doctor. And two, maybe they did go to the doctor, but they did kind of like what everyone else was doing, which was saying, I'm fine after 3 to 4 days. I'm fine. I'm going to go back out. And they still have this virus still lingering in their body instead of recovering fully. That is the end of this segment. Tell me what you guys think by commenting and letting us know what you think. In this next segment, what I'm going to talk about is J-Lo and why exactly she is being sued for $150,000. All of that is coming up after this short break.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
All right, welcome back. So in the last segment, we were talking about how a study has suggested that testicles are making men more vulnerable to the coronavirus, and why exactly they're testing that theory. Right now, however, I wanted to shift gears and talk about all of our celebrity news. So in my last podcast, we were talking about Aisha Curry and how she is going through some legal issues. And we were also talking about a lot more legal issues. And as we can tell with this coronavirus, people are just coming out of the woodworks with these lawsuits. So right now, we're going to talk about Jennifer Lopez, Miss J-Lo, Miss Jenny from the block, okay? She is being sued for $150,000. Why exactly is she getting sued for $150,000? Well, she is being sued for posting a professional picture of herself on Instagram. Let's pause. Did you hear me? Yes, you heard me right. She is being sued for $150,000 for posting a professional picture of herself on Instagram. So Jennifer Lopez posted a photographer's work on her Instagram, but she did not credit him or pay him. So in court documents obtained by Blast, the photographer Steve Sands is suing both Jennifer Lopez and her production company for copyright infringement. Sands said, quote, he snapped a photo of Jennifer Lopez while she was out in public, and then she posted it on Instagram to promote her brand. Okay. So defendants did not lease the photograph from plaintiff for its website, nor did defendants have the plaintiff's permission or consent to publish the photograph on its website. Sands is seeking $150,000 in damages. And guys, this is not Jennifer Lopez's first time being sued for posting a professional's picture of herself without permission. In January, she settled a lawsuit for $150,000 with Splash News after the agency accused her of posting an unlicensed picture of herself and A-Rod. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Okay, so I'm going to first go over what exactly is copyright infringement. So copyright infringement occurs when a copyrighted work is reproduced, distributed, performed, publicly displayed, or made into a derivative work without the permission of the copyright owner. Okay, so if you're anything like me and you asked the blinding question of, she posted a picture of herself, why exactly is this man suing her? So he is the one who took the picture of her. Okay, so this is his work. Okay, and this is his work that Jennifer Lopez decided to post onto her Instagram without crediting him or paying him, which in this case would be considered copyright infringement, because she not only reproduced it, meaning she probably put it up, edited a little bit, and slapped it on her Instagram, but mainly it's because she distributed his work without any type of credit or payment, to where everyone has now seen his work, and more than likely he found out over social media. That is where that part comes in. So if you're still wondering what are some examples of copyright infringement, that is downloading movies and music without proper payment for use. That is recording a movie in a theater. That is using others' photographs for a blog without permission. And that is crediting videos with unlicensed music clips. Okay, so what Jennifer Lopez has done, she's using someone's photograph for her blog. Okay, so we all know Instagram is not a blog, but the way things are slowly turning out, it slowly is becoming a blog. So what Jennifer Lopez has done is she took this man's photograph without his permission, without crediting him, and obviously without paying him. Therefore, she did it without his permission, and that is why she is being sued. And because she has done this before, I don't think this is an excuse. So I said this before on this podcast: fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So the first time she's ever had to deal with a copyright infringement, she should have known, okay, I can't do this anymore. Let me either pay this man or give him credit. At least if she does not want to pay this man, let me try to see if I can give him credit, so that's more exposure for him, okay? And instead of her doing that, she just kind of did whatever she wanted to do. Now, I like Jennifer Lopez. I do. I like Jennifer Lopez a lot. And I'm going to try my best not to be biased here. I can see where she's coming from. Like, this is the picture of me. All right. This is my picture. If I want to give him credit, I can. If I don't, I don't. But in this case, if this man is saying this is his property, you have to ask the burning question: has she asked him already? And if he said, no, I want money before you can post it, she can either A, give him the money, or B, just decide, no, I don't want to. Okay, and she can do whatever she wants with her money. That is her money. She is right now reportedly worth $400 million. So I'm trying to figure out why exactly she did it. Again, it's that fool me once. So she was fooled once by having to pay someone else $150,000. And now it's kind of like deja vu, because she got burned again because she decided to do what she did before. So I don't know who exactly dropped the ball in this case. I don't know if it was Jennifer Lopez, or maybe if it was her social media PR personnel, social media manager. Someone dropped the ball in this case, and it is costing her $150,000. Now, this is probably just like a little hand slap to her, $400 million, but $150,000 plus another $150,000 does add up. And the last thing she wants is another lawsuit to come in, because outside of the copyright infringement, Jennifer Lopez was sued before by something on the outside that I don't really want to get into. But if she continues to keep getting sued over something small, someone is not doing their job. So maybe it's not their social media manager, maybe it's not their PR manager, but someone is in fact dropping the ball And I would hate for Jennifer Lopez to be seen in such a bad light. And so with that being said, I'm going to end this discussion right here. And I am going to talk about the game's sexual assault and what has him owing $7 million. All of that is coming up in this next segment. Stay right there.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Alrighty guys, welcome back. This is our third segment for today. I feel like we are just like zipping through today's podcast. I don't know what it is. I don't know if maybe I'm talking fast. I don't know if I'm just feeling it. I don't know. I don't know. But in the last segment, we were talking about Jennifer Lopez, aka J-Lo, aka Miss Jenny from the block, and how she is being sued for $150,000 for copyright infringement, and how, in fact, this was not her first time dealing with copyright infringement, and why exactly she keeps making this same mistake. Could we place the blame on her? Or could we place the blame on her social media manager or even her PR manager? So that was for the last segment. In this segment, we are going to be talking about the game and everything that is going on with him. So for those of you guys who do not know the game, he is a rapper based out of California. He's a very known rapper, okay? He has been in the game for a very long time. The game's income is being seized to pay off the woman who was awarded $7 million for alleged sexual assault, okay? So according to court documents, a federal court judge has granted a motion brought by a woman named Priscilla Rainey. She is trying to collect on the millions owned from the rapper. Rainey was a contestant on the game's VH1 dating show, She's Got Game. She claimed that she had agreed to go on a date with the rapper, believing it would be on camera. However, when she met the rapper at a Chicago restaurant, there was no production crew. The lawsuit alleged the game showed up to the date highly intoxicated on alcohol and drugs, and sexually assaulted the plaintiff on several occasions that night. He is alleging that, okay, none of this happened. This was consent, okay? This was a consensual case. Rainey, who was the young lady, she was saying, no, this was not. So when all of this occurred in court, the game failed to appear in court. The case dragged on for over a year before a judge eventually awarded Rainey $7 million in damages. Rainey has been trying to find creative ways to seize property and assets from the game. Last year, a federal judge ordered all of the game's income or royalties being paid from E1 or Sound Exchange were to go directly to Rainey. The order warned he would be found in contempt of court if he failed to comply. Following the court's order, the game launched a new imprint called ProFlick Records. It didn't take Rainey too long to head back to court asking for an order seizing ProFlick's assets. The judge granted her motion, ordering all income to go directly to Rainey until the $7 million debt is paid in full. The order states, quote, any and all rights, title, and interest of defendant in any money, property, or payments due to defendant from the LA Prolific in the form, among other things, commissions, royalties, contract receivables, deferred compensation, income, wages, payroll, salary, and accounts receivable. Failure by defendant to comply with this order may subject him to contempt of court proceeding. The rapper also, after everything happened and she was awarded $7 million, the game decided he was not going to pay this young lady a dime. He said, I'm not paying her anything, which in turn led her to go file a motion requesting the seizure of the game's income, which is why he is $7 million in debt. They're taking the money from him and giving it to her. And so what she has done is she decided to address the legal win on Instagram. She decided to say, quote, well then. Guess you know now what I've known for months. She decided to put up a meme and it said, how do I put this? You work for me now. The game decided to go back on Instagram and he said, quote, it's a lying bee making up a story. This mess is effing crazy because I had an effing dentist appointment I missed court. I ain't giving that girl nothing. End quote. So who do we believe? Do we believe the young lady who was on the show and who was claiming that this happened, or do we believe the game? No one really knows in this case. There's only 3 sides to this story, okay? We have his side, we have her side, and then we have the truth. Now, do I feel like the game should have went to this court hearing if he feels like this young lady does not deserve a dime? Most definitely. That is where I feel like the game messed up. If he knew for a fact he did not touch this young lady, if he knew for a fact, okay, I don't feel like she's bluffing, I am worth this amount of money, let me go grab my lawyer and let me go meet this girl at court so I can beat this because this is worth $7 million. And in the end, he is ending up forfeiting a lot of money to this young lady, even though he is claiming that he has never done anything. So this is where I feel like he messed up. If he believes in his heart and in his soul that he didn't do anything, he should have been there. Instead, he decided to go to a dentist appointment. Okay? You can always reschedule your dentist. You can always reschedule your dentist appointment. Let's just be sure. Let's just be real on that. He could always do that. Okay? In his mind, he's basically saying he's not paying this girl anything. She doesn't own anything. He doesn't owe her anything. Maybe in his mind, he believes he shouldn't. But legally, because he wasn't physically present to give his side of the case instead of giving Instagram his side of the case, I feel like, once again, this is where he dropped the ball. The judge wanted to hear 2 people. Maybe that judge could have 2 sides to that story. Instead, he only had her side of the case. So again, this is where I feel like the game messed up. But with that being said, I wanted to liven things up. And in this next segment, I wanted to talk about Ted Riley versus Babyface on Instagram Live and how it broke the internet. All of that coming up in this next segment. Stay tuned.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, guys, we are almost done with today's podcast. It just seems like we've almost been through it, but in the last segment, we were talking about the game and how he is having to pay over $7 million for allegedly sexually assaulting a young lady back in 2015, and just all of the drama that stemmed from there. In this segment, I wanted to switch up everything and just give you guys something more fun and lighthearted. And I wanted to talk about how Babyface and Teddy Riley broke social media, not only on Twitter, not only on Instagram, but on Facebook and everywhere in between. Goodness gracious, it was a lot that happened. All right, so first I wanted to give you guys a little bit of backstory on, just in case you guys have no idea who Babyface and Ted Riley may be. I thought I would go on and let you guys know. So Babyface, his real name is Kenneth Edmonds, and he is an American singer, songwriter, and he is a very famous record producer. He has written and produced over 26 number one R&B hits throughout his career, and he has won 11 Grammy Awards. He has produced hit songs such as Baby 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 by TLC, Another Sad Love Song by Toni Braxton, Best Thing I Never Had by Beyonce, Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell, Can't Help Myself by Destiny's Child, and the list just goes on and on. This man is a very talented man, and I believe he has not only worked with TLC, he has also worked with Bobby Brown. He's also worked obviously with Usher, Tevin Campbell, SWV, Shanice, Justin Bieber, Mariah Carey, and obviously Toni Braxton. So he is a very well-known man. Teddy Riley is also a very talented man as well. His real name is Edward Theodore Riley, and he is an American singer, songwriter, record producer, and multi-instrumental, credited with the creation of the New Jack Swing genre. Okay? He is best known for his music group, Blackstreet, okay? If you know anything about 90s, he was that 90s group, okay? And he produced songs for Michael Jackson, as well as Bobby Brown, SWV, and Joe, Okay, so if you guys don't know who they are, please go back and listen. This man is also very talented. So here is why I wanted to talk about the Teddy Riley versus Babyface Instagram Live showdown. These two men were so relevant in the 90s that it's just helped create music that still stems to today's genre and today's music. But why are they trending so hard? This was actually their second time doing their Instagram Live. And the first time, it was cringeworthy. I'm not even going to sit up there and lie to you guys. I hate being embarrassed. So if I feel secondhand embarrassment for someone else, it just gets so weird. I don't know if you guys have to deal with this, but with me, when I get embarrassed, my whole body, it feels like the blood rushes to my feet. I get hot all over. My face gets really red. I start sweating. I hate being embarrassed. Or I have to move my head around. It's so weird. Okay, so here's what happened. I forgot what night it was, but they were meet us here at 9:00 on Instagram Live. So you get on Instagram Live, and usually when producers are doing this friendly competition, you have them both sitting in a room and they're playing their music. If they're playing either the songs they produced or the songs they have written, okay? So Babyface gets on. He is sitting in a regular room. He has everything ready to record, and they're going to go from there. Teddy Riley has a whole band behind him. He has people behind him. He looks like he's on a stage with a microphone, and you're like, why are you doing the most? It's only Instagram Live. And I understood where he was coming from, which was you go big or you go home. Well, in this case, you were already home. So there's no need to go really big. You have the music. What are you doing? Oh my goodness. So they get on there. They're doing their thing. Babyface, I believe he's the first one to start off. And you're like, okay, I like this. Then all of a sudden there's technical difficulties on Teddy Riley's part. And you're like, what is this man doing? It keeps going on. All the technical difficulties continue to go on until finally they had to cut the live short. It was a whole bunch of mess, child. A whole bunch of mess. And finally, they get back on. I believe it was the next day. It was postponed to another day. They get back on, and they finally gave us what we wanted, which was music. We wanted to see who was going to win and the music these people produced to help stem a generation, okay? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't have a clear winner. If I were to have a clear winner, I would just go on and say Babyface because, he came simple and he just wanted to do it simple. Whereas Ted Riley was just trying to do the most. And trust me, I understand about doing the most. I understand about being extra. Trust me, I do. But in this case, I felt like he was trying to do the most and he was trying to be extra for no reason. But when he came back in, he was giving us hits. He was giving us songs. He was giving us something to listen to. And he helped me remember music that I didn't even know he wrote or produced. And that's not even just for Ted Riley. That was for Babyface as well. If you guys have not seen their Instagram lives, please go and watch it. You will not be disappointed. So what I like so much about these Instagram lives are the fact that they praise each other and they give each other the credit they deserve. Okay, so many times we hear about Babyface, we hear about Ted Riley, we hear about Little John, we hear about The Dream, we hear about all of these people, even Neo, we hear about all of these people, but we don't really know the work they put in. Some of our favorite songs, we don't even know the producer or the songwriter behind that song, and we just kind of like let it go to just see the pure talent and the pure love that they have for, singing, songwriting, and producing. It just really shows, especially if someone just really loves their job. And also the fact that they can say, you know what, you inspired me, and you know what, you also kept me on my toes to do the best job that I can be. And I think that's for anyone, really. When you have that friend or you have that individual that pushes you and that sees talent in you and says, you know what, because you inspire me, I'm going to push you to your best ability, and I'm going to make you work. Because when you keep working, when you do your best, now you're going to shoot further than your best. Okay? You're going to shoot for perfection. I also feel like this was more than being an entertainment. This was something to give people an inspiration to work hard in their craft, to do their best to perfect their craft, and to, showcase that it's not always just about competing. It's about uplifting one another. So with that being said, this is the end of this segment. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to talk about some potential battles that may unfold on Instagram Live and what the people are looking for in the next Instagram Live battle. All of that coming up in the next segment. Stay tuned.
Always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. Jordan and Keith is Entertainment Tonight meets Access Hollywood.
I'm Jordan. The guy laughing, that's Keith.
Yeah, I'm Keith.
An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
All right, guys. So we are here. We are at the end of our very final segment for today. I don't know how to feel. I feel like I've been zipping through these segments. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. It's a lot. So anyway, in our last segment, we talked about how Teddy Riley and Babyface broke the internet and how everyone was talking about these singers, songwriters, and producers. And in this segment, I also wanted to kind of stem from that and talk about all of the battles that we have had thus far and a lot of who Twitter wants to see in the upcoming Instagram battles, okay? So first, I wanted to talk to you guys about who has already battled, all right? So we have already seen Swiss Beats versus Timberland. We've already seen T-Pain versus Lil Jon. We have already seen both parts of Babyface versus Teddy Riley. We have seen Neo versus Jonte Austin. And by the way, you guys, really quickly, Jonte Austin is such a handsome man, and he looks so good for his age. Everybody looks good for his age, but Jonte looks good for his age. A1 for his age, okay? We've already seen French Montana versus Tory Lanez. I don't know if I'm going to count that battle. I don't know if I'm going to count that battle. And then we have seen The Dream versus Sean Garrett, okay? So who do we want to see next? Who do we want to see in our next upcoming battle? Well, people have already said they want to see Romeo versus Bow Wow. Romeo versus Bow Wow, okay? So for those of you guys who are even wondering, okay, who is Bow Wow and who exactly is Romeo? Okay, so Bow Wow's real name is Shad Moss, and he's best known as Bow Wow. He was like very popular when I was like young, all the way up until I was a teenager and even like a little bit of college. When I knew him, his name was Little Bow Wow, okay? And his first album was Beware of Dog. And that was back in like 2000. And I believe he was 13 years old. He has been on movies such as like Mike, The Fast and the Furious, Roll Bounce, and Lottery Ticket. He has had hit songs such as Let Me Hold You, Shorty Like Mine, Out of My System, Bounce With Me, Girlfriend, My Baby, Ghetto Girl, You Can Get It All, but Puppy Love, Basketball, Let's Get Down, and Thinking About You. When I tell you Bow Wow was my childhood, Bow Wow was my childhood. Back when 106 in Park was still 106 in Park, meaning it was still good, I used to always see Bow Wow. I was the girl that had a Bow Wow poster. I wanted to go to his concerts. Every single time his video came up, I was there in front of the TV. I was a big fan. I was low-key, high-key a groupie. I will admit that, and I will feel no shame. Okay? I was a huge Bow Wow fan. Okay? And so, when Romeo came out, I liked Romeo, but it was nothing like as big as Bow Wow, okay? So I didn't have that same feeling toward him. So for those of you guys who do not know who Romeo is, his first name is Percy Romeo Miller. He's best known as Romeo, who is an American rapper and actor. He is an American rapper and actor, an entrepreneur, and a model, okay? He is the son of Master P, okay, who is also a rapper. So Romeo and Lil Bow Wow have both been on Growing Up Hip Hop. Romeo was the host of X on the Beach, and he was also on Honey, and he was also on Medea. He was on a Medea movie. I believe it was the Witness Protection Program. But yeah, so that's what he has been on, okay? Romeo has made like a theme song. I believe he made it for Static Shock. The Static Shock theme song, if you know anything about Static Shock, that was him on the theme song. He made Parents Just Don't Understand from the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius movie. He made Throw 'Em Up. That was from the Proud Family back in 2004. He made My Cinderella in his Romeo Land album. How I Feel, that was the remix, I believe, this year. It came out this year. And I Got Candy. So those are only some of his songs, okay? Now, as I know right now, him and Bow Wow are cool. I believe they're friends or they're just associates. Either way, they're both very cool with one another. However, this is there's always been like people trying to pit other artists against other artists. We have seen that with Megan Thee Stallion always saying on Twitter that a lot of the fans of these said artists are always trying to make an unknown beef come up from nowhere. We have Megan Thee Stallion has even said that has happened between her and Cardi B, or maybe even her and Nicki Minaj. We see that a lot in the female rap industry, but Romeo has recently came out and said that he had to quit growing up hip hop because he just felt like they were trying to start something between him and Romeo, and it's nothing, between him and Bow Wow, and it's nothing but respect, okay? And so that's what he wants. He has always said, ever since I believe he got to a certain age, he has always said that it's a respect thing, okay? And him as an adult, it's all about respect. So, he has said, growing up as the rapper he has always felt like a lot of Bow Wow's fans were always trying to put him and Bow Wow against one another to create some type of beef. And that's just not how he is. It's just not how he wants his reputation to be stemmed from. So Twitter, the reason they're on it is because Twitter has begun saying, well, why don't we have a Romeo Miller versus Shade Moss, aka Lil Bow Wow versus Lil Romeo type of fun battle. And so Twitter is saying, okay, well, we can count this as disrespect because Bow Wow has obviously way more hits than Little Romeo. And I hate to say it, but that's kind of true. To this day, if someone were to put on Let Me Hold You, Shorty Like Mine, Bounce With Me, My Baby, Ghetto Girl, especially Basketball, if they were to put that on, I would know the lyrics word by word. Whereas when it comes to Little Romeo, I know him on movies, and I know him from movies, and I know him through the Static Shock theme song, and I know him through Cinderella. There's nothing against that. There's nothing really bad for that. And as they both have gotten older, you can definitely see where Romeo has kind of had this, you know what, we are adults. We need to present ourselves as adults. So I can definitely see where he gets his mannerisms from. He has not had, the rap game change his mindset or, where he was as a person. But do I feel like those two should battle against one another? Definitely not. No, we're not doing that. We're definitely not doing that at all. No. Not even a little bit. If you guys have not heard all of Romeo's songs, definitely go and listen to Romeo's songs. If you guys have not heard Bow Wow's songs, listen to all of Bow Wow's songs. And we're even going to count the ones that he has had with Omarion when those two went on a collaboration with one another. We're definitely going to count that. And then you can kind of see how the music industry has rated them, okay? So with that being said, this is the end of this last segment. After the break, we are going to talk about who has beat Drake at the number one spot on the Hot 100 Billboard chart. All of that coming up right after this break.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
right, guys, we are here. We are on our very last subject. Very last, okay? So before the break, we were talking about how these Instagram live battles have kind of stimulated to something where people just want to watch and love the friendly battle, and how it has inspired not only us as listeners, but it has also inspired other artists, producers, and songwriters for the next generation. So what I wanted to talk about now is the person who beat Drake at the #1 spot on the Hot 100. And we're going to talk about The Weeknd. Yes, The Weeknd has beat Drake at the #1 spot on the Hot 100. He also is dominating at the #1 spot on Spotify's global charts for 57 days straight, okay? And he also has the #1 album. He has also been chosen for the #1 album for a month on the Billboard 200 for the 4th consecutive week. If you guys have not heard his latest album, Blinding Lights, definitely go and listen to it. It's you will not get tired of it. I think you will like every single song that is on his album. He is #1 on there for a reason, okay? So I definitely suggest you go out and listen to him, okay? But since we are on the topic of the Billboard chart, let's go on and look at who is in the top 10. Obviously, because he beat Drake, you already know Drake is at #2 on the Hot 100 with his Tootsie Slide. Roddy Ricch's The Box holds #3 on the Hot 100, which has dominated for about 11 weeks. Dua Lipa's Don't Start Now is steadily at the number 4 after reaching #2. And then Doja Cat pounces on her first top 5 Hot 100 hit as Say So. So with Say So released on RCA Records, Doja Cat is the first woman on the label to earn a first record top 5 Hot 100 hit in a lead role since Sia, whose Cheap Thrills featured Sean Paul, led for 4 weeks in August of 2016. Harry Styles' Adore You revisits its #6 Hot 100 high, climbing from #7. Post Malone's Circles descends 6 to 7 on the Hot 100 after notching 3 weeks at #1. Rounding out the Hot 100's top 10, Future's Life is Good featuring Drake falls 5 to 8 after peaking at #2 for 8 weeks. Justin Bieber's Intentions featuring Quavo keeps at #9 after reaching #8, and Billie Eilish's Everything I Wanted is stationary at 10 after also hitting #8. So that is your Hot 100 top 10. And this is the end of today's show. I would like to thank you once again for listening to the GSMC Social Media News Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review, because that really helps us out. Also, be sure to follow us on all of our social media handles, such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you, and I want you guys to have a good night, a good day, and everything in between. Bye!
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Social Media Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.